How are you guys doing? Good evening. Leave a comment. Let me know. Let me know how you guys are doing. Give a like. I appreciate the hearts. Good to have you guys here. Appreciate it. Leave a comment. Leave a comment. Let me know. I see all the hearts going up. Oh, that's beautiful. Much appreciated. Much appreciated. Gratitude. Yeah, like the video as well. Leave a comment. Let me know what you guys are thinking about. It's good to be back on once again. Good to have you guys here. I see all the hearts coming out. Much appreciation. It's like you guys have the hearts on auto right now. It's beautiful. Much appreciated. How are you doing? All the way from India. This is uh, this is the evening stream for the community based on community requests. So this is a stream after the stream, kind of creating a trend where I'm here having some interaction and conversation with you guys. Some good development concerning self-help, some financial stability, and building wealth, and also from the foundation of where everything starts. That begins with self-care and self-help. So these are some of the things that I'm gonna always be talking about because these are the foundation, especially when it comes to self help and self care. That's one thing that I'm gonna always be talking about because that is the foundation for you to build anything on. So I appreciate you guys being here once again. And as the content grows, then you guys let me know what are some of the things that you're taking away from it, or the understanding that you're getting from it as well. A few things that I'm gonna get back into tonight. I I may talk a little bit about console gaming, but mainly on self help, on financial stability, and also I think I will touch on the basics and the foundation of friendship and relationships as well. But that really starts from self. So you being able to be at least a friend to yourself before you can extend that to anyone else, and understanding who you are as a person. So whenever a relationship or a friendship goes awry, or just it really don't go the way that you want, you understand where it's coming from, or why things are the way things are. And that's the reason why I always talk about the foundation of starting from self, because if you create a foundation of understanding who you are, about the things that you want and things that you don't want, then you can make informed and proper decision. And so eventually all the decisions that you make on a whole, you will be more comfortable with all the decisions, and you can be a lot more happier in that way. So it's like some of the smallest step that people often overlook, and then when things go awry, like relationships or even business and things like that, it often crumbles because you don't when things go wrong. Sometimes you don't know where it goes wrong, but you should always know where it goes wrong and why it goes wrong. And the way to do that is to build a proper foundation, and that is by really knowing yourself and what is it that you want for yourself and where you stand. If you have any core values at all, and if you don't have them, are you gonna find out what they are, or are you gonna build on those? If you have a set of characteristics and attributes about yourself, you really have to ask yourself, are these really mine, or were they really projected onto me by what was thought from everyone else out in the world, or whether through school or just from everyday interaction, even through your job. Sometimes you take on things that you really don't know where it comes from. Even the thoughts that you think every day, sometimes you really don't know where it comes from, but you're thinking it. And what often happens is that we identify with these things. You identify with even the music you listen to, and you internalize it and take it as that this is who you are, or this is the way you should feel. When it's not the way you're really supposed to feel. All it's doing is just causing confusion, because it will give you a certain feeling for a short amount of time, but then it goes away, because at the core of who you are and what you really want, it doesn't resonate with that long term. And I like to start from the foundation like this. So whenever you go out into the world or you start building friendships and relationships, it's really built organically, and you can be transparent and authentic about everything that you do. And what we've been taught is that, especially when you're going to school, you want to be a part of the popular crowd, or you want to be a part of the norm of what everyone else is doing. But what often happens is that you quickly come to find that after a certain period of time, all of those relationships quickly dissolve. There wasn't a proper foundation to begin with. And while it is not the norm to be your authentic and organic self, or while you won't be accepted as much for being that, because not everyone has the ability to really be transparent. Even though it's not accepted as much, it's much more worthwhile, because then you can be a lot more happier being that way. And being authentic and transparent doesn't mean you're doing things your way because it's the things that you want to do. No, it's really the things that are right and true. So simple things like having being honest to yourself first and foremost, and being consistent with that, and forming some core values and integrity. If you build that with yourself, then you might not gain as many friends or popularity or relationships, because it may not be the norm. Everyone really wants to be a part of the popularity, but what it ultimately comes down is that you'll be more happier with yourself, because you're making the decisions that you want to make. And if they are true, and if they are right, if you are being authentic and organic, so it's like you're stripping yourself down from the ground up. Even your thought patterns, you are checking the thoughts that you're thinking, because most of the things that you think on a daily basis, majority of the thoughts aren't yours. It's coming from something that you hear, or something that you listen to, or something that you've seen. So being self-aware really is what you're doing. The basics of any relationship is the communication, and that communication starts with yourself. So a lot of self-talk, you have to do the self-talk. So it's the inner self-engineering. You really have to go on that engineering journey to build, actively build up the things about yourself that you want to have long term about yourself. You actually have to build those up. Because most of the things that you have about yourself, sometimes you really don't know why you're doing things, but then it always comes it always comes back to you actually doing some kind of self-evaluation to really and truly be able to make decisions that you are consciously and actively aware of that you are making. So I'm just gonna make sure I have everything in order. I'm really gonna go through the basics of relationships and the way to create and maintain them. But first, starting with self, because you can't have and maintain long term a friendship or any kind of a relationship with anyone else when you don't know how to maintain that properly with yourself. So today I really want to at least focus on relationships, and that is having a relationship with yourself. During the meantime, while I pull up and go through all my information, if you have comments or anything pertaining to the conversation or the title or the thumbnail, you can put it in the chat and interact about it. So one of the basic things that you always have to understand as an individual, in order to have a relationship with anyone else, you have to first learn how to have a relationship with yourself. And this is not particularly pertaining to dating or anything. It's in general. So what it encompasses is the human relation and human interaction. In order to do it properly and to do it organically, you first need to understand and develop the ability to have a proper relationship with yourself. And so, if it starts from an individual prospect, then if each individual can really do this from an individual prospect, then that will eventually multiply into a collective of people that have really done the self work to be a proper human being. Because most of the time, the emotions that you have, you really don't know or understand how to regulate and actively use them properly. And so, the basics of any human relationship is always starting with yourself. And it should never be a hard thing. It should be one of the funnest things you can ever do, because you spend the most time with yourself every single day, whether you want to or not, because you are yourself, right? So most people don't think of it, but you really have to get to know yourself. And I'm not talking the identifying with a job, with a career, or with your family or your culture. You as an individual, you have an identity that you have to discover. And in order for you to get to that, you have to strip a lot of the nonsense away that has been imprinted and ingrained in you for decades, depending on how old you are. From the time you've been growing up, there is a lot that have been ingrained in you to tell you how to be, what to be. So, in order for you to get back to the core, you really have to strip away a lot of the things that no longer agrees with you. And this is really getting back to the foundation before you start having so many confusion, or whenever things happen, you don't have an understanding or a reason for it. This is the way you really get to the core of everything. If you can understand yourself, then everything else that is without or out in the world, you can get a better understanding of that. So when it comes to you as a self, you have to find the time and reasoning to have a lot of fun with it. It's not punishment. It's really stripping away all the things that you think were really your identity, but they really are not. And I can say that because I was born into the world just like everyone else. I was indoctrinated through school or through being groomed by, whether it's a family member or a culture, things that aren't me, but things that were pushed onto me to tell me what to be, what to believe, what to do, and how to do things. All of these things become your identity, which is not organically you, but through no fault of your own, just like everyone else, you you have taken on all these things, and when you eventually grow up or you become self-aware enough to understand that you aren't happy with who you are as a person, you have to get to the bottom of things, and the way to get to that is to start stripping away the things that have been pushed upon you, whether it's someone else's belief or someone else's way of life or their thought patterns or the way they think. It doesn't matter what it is or where it comes from. You have to identify with yourself and to really come back to the foundation of who you are. So in a lot of different cultures, you'll go and you find that different names or journey or perspective or given on this task that you have to take on. It's a self journey, which is the ultimate journey that you can take on throughout your entire life, because it's one of the hardest things, mainly because so many things has been pushed onto you. And a lot of people never really take the time out to realize that everything that really has been pushed onto you is not really who you are. So most people end up being unhappy and don't really know the reason for it. So whenever you find yourself being unhappy and you're like, wait, well, I think this way, but maybe this is not really who I am. I do these things, but maybe this is not really the things that I like to do. But these are the things that I'm used to. Whenever it gets to that point, you simply just have to sit down with yourself and have a conversation with yourself. And I know this may sound away because no, 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 no everyday person or individual is gonna talk about having a conversation with yourself. They're probably gonna say you're crazy or something. But in truth, you're not crazy. If you can have fun with yourself and have a conversation with yourself, as a matter of fact, be still, don't say nothing, don't no music, don't watch nothing, and you're gonna hear thoughts coming in your head. And separately from the thoughts, there's gonna be another voice in your head. So that alone signifies that there is something that you're reflecting from, which signifies that you have the ability to have a conversation with your authentic self, and that's where you need to get back to. Is a lot of people are unhappy and don't know the reason why they're unhappy. That's because you are identifying with everything else that everything and everyone else has projected onto you. So you have to strip all of that away and get back to who you are really has an individual being. When you can do that, then you can really start to cultivate pure and proper friendships and relationships. And trust me, it's not the easiest thing to do. It's not the easiest thing to face yourself, especially when you've gone through so many years of the school teaching you to do this, to be like this, people, family, the world teaching you and telling you, but then you grow up and you really come to the point where a lot of things you're just not happy with it's not aligning with who you are as a person. Most people, a lot of physical things will bring them some kind of enjoyment, which that is fine. But beyond that, do you have some kind of a foundation where if you don't have that, are you still gonna find some kind of a balance within yourself to know that you really don't need that, even though it's an extension of things that you can use because it is a part of your physical world. But beyond that, the core values that really keeps you solid and to make you happy. So one of one of the amongst many different nations and cultures, one of the things that will come in common is a lot of culture will talk about being able to face up to yourself or being accountable, being responsible, and there is a lot of title that is given to that. And it's never one of the easiest things. However, it's one of the most beneficial things that you can accomplish in this life. And so throughout every and any life that I'm doing, I'm gonna always reference back to being able to self-evaluate and face yourself because it is one of the most rewarding, not just temporarily, but lifelong and beyond. So knowing yourself as an individual will pays off in ways that you really can't imagine. So knowing yourself is absolutely fundamental. It helps you to be a better person. It helps you to be able to help others as well. And whenever it comes to friendships and relationships, it's gonna be the best thing because you are now self-aware enough, and you once you've gone through the self-evaluation, you've stripped away all the things. And I know I might be reaching to this point, but it takes a lot to get to that point. But at least once you start on the journey, which that journey never really ends, but at least once you start on that journey, you can now actively make conscious decision of all the things that really align with who you are at the core. So you can now be more transparent and authentic. The ability to live that way, it's one of the best things you can do. It's like I can compare this to like a simple relationship or or a friendship or something. There's always someone that's always asking for honesty or transparency because there is nothing to hide there. What that builds is a consistent integrity of trust and less worries. So it frees you up. So it's a purity that comes with it where if you can get back to the organic self of who you really are, so you can be authentic and be comfortable with it. It might not be acceptable by most people, and the reason is because not everyone is at that place. It takes a lot for most people to get to that place. As a matter of fact, you have to have courage. You have to, and I'll say it again, you have to have courage to be able to face yourself. It's one of the hardest things. And mainly because it's going to be excruciating once you start tearing away all the layers and all the things that you really think that you are for years on ending. You think you are a lot of things, but you actually aren't. And how you know, or how you're going to know, is that at the end of the day, most of these things don't really make you happy at the core. What if you didn't have a lot of the things? Would you really or still be happy with yourself? Or can you truly be truthful and authentic with yourself or with your current friends that you have? Can you do that without them shunning you or trying to make you look bad or something? Can you authentically be yourself? Can everyone be transparent who you interact with or you speak with? For most people, that's a no. So the best thing you can do is to really start with yourself, and each individual human being is gonna have to really do that for themselves, because you won't, or you can never make anyone else strip away all the indoctrination and the brainwashing that they have gone through. In the same way that you have to break away from all of this superficiality, every individual have to do it too, and it takes courage. It won't happen all at once. You have to do it in increments. It's like breaking away from bad habits that no longer benefits you. You have to do it in increments. And so what it gives you is the ability to now start making informed decisions. And I don't know if you guys know, but when you really can make informed decisions, so it's the awareness. So when you're making the decision, you are actively present. So you have the understanding that I'm making this decision. I'm aware that I'm making this decision. I'm actively informed that this is so. And this is just starting from the basics, and it may not seem like it's a lot, but these are fundamental things that when you start build on it, then you don't really have to worry about the foundation that you have. So when you go to different countries and different places and you see like really good and nice people or proper people, you'll find it in different places, but some of the time you never really know that as an individual, it once you've gone through the process of stripping away of all the superficiality from yourself, it's a beautiful human being that it's it's a beautiful human being that's sitting below all of that superficiality. Because for sure, the world can't tell you who you are. It just can't. And even if it can, it won't, because it's not in its benefit, right? It's like going to a job. The job will only pay you so much for you to keep coming back because the job needs you to keep on working, to keep the business going. But how much is it benefiting you? It may be giving you all the basic needs, but what can you do beyond that? And I understand everyone has to go through the stages. That's a given. Everyone is born into it. As a human being, you are born into it. So you have to go through the stages. But once you acknowledge and you've come to the realization that that there is a disconnect somewhere, and that there is more than just living out someone else's dream or the world's dream, when you've come to that acknowledgement, then you can actively start making the decision to make some changes. Most of the great people that you'll see in the world, and I'm not talking relating to wealth and finance. All of that is good. But when it comes to really great and good people, it's an absolute beautiful, beautiful vibe. Even sometimes you don't really have to physically be there, but you can feel that. And there's a reason. There is a reason for that. Because it's a natural frequency that we all vibrate on as human beings. So if when you come in line with your organic and true authentic self, when you can be that, so it's like if you're a business owner, you're gonna want other people that have the same business concept and same business ideas that you have as well. So when you strip away all the superficiality from yourself, the only thing that's gonna really resonate with you are people that are really going through the same journey that you are going through. So you have to first understand that you're really gonna have to be happy with yourself, and anyone else that really aligns with you, that's where your friendships or your relationships are gonna come from. It's not gonna benefit you trying to build or force anything else, especially when it doesn't align with who you are as a person. So what's going to lead you astray a lot of the time are the emotions that you have and the way you may feel temporarily. But it's not a strange thing. As a human being, we all feel it, we all go through it. And when you start to strip away the superficiality, what you'll come to understand eventually, because you won't understand it at first, but eventually you will come to the understanding, because these are the things that you're going to start understanding. Once you start understanding yourself, you're going to start understand all the things that comes with who you are as a self. The person that you are and the emotions that you have are basically and ultimately is for you to interact with others that are in your physical atmosphere or hemisphere. So all the emotions and all the feelings that you have are basically for you to understand. It's not anything for you to be scared of. It's a part of the of your guideline. Your emotions really guide you. So it's what comes with the vessel that you have to for you to be able to interact with the physical world that you are in. So other people have the same emotions that you have, but really most people just don't understand it. You feel a way and you're like, okay, I feel this way. This must be why. But if you can really understand your reason, the reason why you feel this way and the reason for why you're feeling this way, then you can better operate and respond correctly. So I know the popular term is emotional intelligence, but it's it's fine to say that because it's having the knowing and the understanding of the emotions that you have, and you know how to properly relate and use them. I would call it basic human relation 101 because because as a human being, most people really don't know how to be a proper human being. You are a human, but do you really know how to be a proper human being? I think if I think if a lot of people can do this, then that become a collective or eventually uh, a whole of people that are actually self realized or self actualized. And to really become self-actualized, you really have to strip away all you have to strip away all the superficiality that you identify with. But even though you identify with it, that is not who you actually are. And one example is that most people identify with the job that they have or the career that they have, but that's not who you are organically and authentically. So it's fine to have all these things, but then you have to know how to differentiate that that is one thing, but this is the other thing. It's like this is me and that is that. So if majority of people can do that, then you will have then you will have an entire collective of people that are actually self actualized. And to be self actualized is to really be able to be accountable for yourself. You have to be responsible for yourself, which meaning you can no longer point the finger elsewhere. Everything you have to be accountable. You have to be accountable and take the responsibility for everything and every action that happens with you as an individual. In a lot of culture, you'll see these things, and they'll give it like fancy names and things like that. You read about it in books or in stories, but what it really is you understanding yourself as an individual or as a human being. And that is beyond identifying with what you've been taught, what you've been told to value, or what you've been told to hold true. It's you really understanding that you are separate apart from all these things, and that's the only way to go back to the foundation of to make yourself happy, or to really give yourself the full control that you need to have. Because things most people make decision, and they really don't know why they're making it. Oftentimes it's based on what's the norm, and what is the norm. It's not always the right thing. And there's one thing that I always say is stereotypical idealism is really for fairy tales. These are things that you may see in movies or cartoons. It's stereotypical and it is ideal, but it's not always the right and the true thing for you as an individual. Now, the, su- the superficial aspect of life, that is fine, but where the confusion and the issue comes in is when you start to identify with it or to confuse yourself with it. So you don't know how to separate who you are as an individual away from all these things. So you start making decisions that you aren't truly happy with. And it in turns and long term is gonna really, really, really make you unhappy. So this is self-care. Basic self-care is basic. It's 101. It for a lot of people it doesn't seem like it, but it's self-care 101. If you know if you know how to be a proper human being, you can build great relationships and a great friendship. And there's a lot of things that I'm gonna talk about and build upon, but there's one thing that I'm never gonna really skip over, and that really will be a part of every conversation that I'm having throughout each day is self-care. And self-care not in superficial aspect, but self-care in knowing who you are as an individual and what is it that benefits you really and truly. What is it that really makes you happy? Not based on anything superficial, but at the core of who you are, uh, based on the thing you hold true and dear. And so I always compare this to like going to the gym. If if you haven't gone to the gym in a long time, or if you haven't worked out in general in a long time, your muscles hurt once you start doing it. and so and so that's what it's like when you start to strip away all of the identity and all of the false things about yourself that you really think you are. It's excruciating and it's painful. And most of the times, the friends that you have won't understand because they're they probably aren't on the same journey, or they're probably not there yet. And with the given fact that they won't understand because the thought patterns is gonna be entirely different. So why the thought pattern is different? Because it comes with a lot of self-talk. Self-talk meaning you are now interacting with yourself. So you're holding yourself account. You're acknowledging the fact that you are now aware of things that you may have attributes or characteristics that you don't really identify with, but you are now aware of it. So you are now holding yourself accountable, which is a big one, and being responsible enough to consistently work at it and have some integrity to go through with it. And what it eventually turns into is to you becoming an actualized individual, because through the actions and the changes that you've made, you are aware of all your actions and your capabilities. What is it that benefits you and what is it that don't benefit you beyond what the world or anything external has to say or offer. So there's a few things here that I'm gonna read through. Apart from that, unless there's some kind of a comment, I'm gonna just read through some stuff and to to kind of have a guideline to go through. So relationships and the mental foundations that build them. That's a big one, right? Relationships is like one of the biggest things as a human being. Everybody seeks it, everybody wants it, but no one really acknowledges that the best relationship you can have first and foremost is with yourself. Because if you're a horrible person, it doesn't matter what relationship or friendship you get into, it's going to be short term because no one really wants a bad relationship or a bad friendship. So the first one and the most important one you can start with and have is to start with yourself. Man, that is a big one. I know I had to go through it a very long time ago. And it's one of the things that takes a lot of courage. Because when you're accustomed to doing things one way and then all of a sudden you get to that point where you no longer identify with all of this nonsense, for lack of a better word at the moment, that have been ingrained into you. When you eventually get to that part, it's excruciating, it's painful. And so often some of the common things you'll hear from friends or family or from people that you know is that, man, she has changed, or man, he has changed, or why does he think or why does she think she's better than us or he's better than. But most of the time it's not really that. For a lot of people, when they have done the self-search, a lot of the things that you used to identify, when you no longer identify with them, you start to seem a little bit strange or distant to people that no longer understand what is it that you are going through or who you are becoming or remembering yourself to be. And so it's one of the most painful things, and this is one that really takes courage, because it really takes courage to break away from the norm of the identity and of all the false perception that you have about yourself. It's one of the most excruciating things you can do. it's painful. God damn, it's painful to face really everything that you've been taught, you've been groomed, it's been ingrained in you. And eventually you get to a point to where you're like, no, this is not who I am. No. This is not who. And so for a lot of people, the friends or the family won't understand at first, maybe. For some, they may understand. But what is important for you to understand as an individual human being is that it's a journey that each person has to go through. Some aren't ready for it. Some just aren't there yet. But if it's something that that resonates with you and you know how to acknowledge, then it's a journey that you have to start. And once you start it, you have to understand that not everyone is going to understand it. And people may have false ideas or false perception about what is happening, but not until they get on the same journey they will understand. They will understand it. But man, oh man, is it excruciating? But that is the start of it. Once you come out on the other hand, guess what? You become a refined, beautiful human being. you become self-actual. You become self-actuated. So you become organic. All the thoughts and the decision that you will make, you are self-aware of it. You're honest with yourself. You're authentic. And oftentimes, when other people don't accept you, once you get to that place, really, it's not really you that's gonna be the issue. What's gonna happen is that not everyone is gonna be on that same path as you, and not until they get to that same thought pattern or way of life that they will never, or they won't be able to understand. So relationships with others and yourself are built on psychology, emotion, and behavioral foundations. If you want depth and practical help, start inward and move outward. That is a big one. And I'll just say that again. If you want depth and practical help, which is self-help, you have to first start inward and then move outward, because then it creates a foundation and a self-awareness of who you are, and so everything that you are doing from within, you now understand why you're doing it without or going out. So the primary relationship is just naturally with yourself. It starts with yourself. It's a journey with yourself. You have to have conversation with yourself, and you need to face it. It takes courage. The courage to really face yourself. It takes a lot of it. Now, no human being is perfect. You won't have a lot of it at first, but it's something that you need to do in increment. In different cultures, in different part of the world, different titles are given to it for a person who is self-understanding or self-activated or self-actualized, which means you now understand who you are as an individual human being. So you can now actively and make decision based on organic thought. So self-awareness, which is knowing your values and the things that is good for you, just to put it in simple terms. Is your values things that are good for you? Your own thought patterns? And I tend to talk about thought patterns a lot because a lot of the things that we think as individual each day, it's not really your own thought. It's really the thought of something that you've listened to or you've heard from. It could even be from days, weeks, or years ago, but it's still in there. Especially if you listen to music a lot or you watch a lot of things on television, or you consistently just interact with people that just talk about random stuff. A lot of that you will internalize simply because you identify or or that resonate with you. You will now start to take that onto yourself and start to think that this is who I am because I kind of resonate with what they're singing or with what they're saying. But really, that's not really who you are. Someone else is telling you how to feel or what to do. And so up next, self-expression. And I always start with self-expression with really expressing yourself to yourself. Something that you have to do. express yourself to yourself. So, and when it comes to the self care, it's really treating yourself with kindness. That kindness is really understanding that things that aren't really benefiting you shouldn't be a part of your daily life or your daily routine. The next one is emotional regulation. You need to have the ability to notice the way you're feeling, why you're feeling it. And so you have to understand that it is now your responsibility, the self responsibility, which takes self courage. It takes self courage and self responsibility to know that things that aren't right about yourself, you you acknowledge and understand that these are changes that you have to make and will make. And so really you have to be hard on yourself, not to be down on yourself, but holding yourself responsible is one of the main things that you have to do. So what kind of an internal narrative that you have about yourself, the identity that you've created for yourself? What is it that you're identifying with? Why are you identifying with? So I've gone over how your inner life shapes your external relationships because it all springs from there. So you have to understand yourself to the point of where the ego doesn't get in your way or the pride doesn't get in your way, because oftentimes it does, and most people feel shame of really facing up to or accepting that they aren't really what they want to be or they aren't where they're supposed to be, and so the ego, the pride, and the shame, all that stuff get in the way. But all of these emotions and all of these things get are there for a particular reason. These are simply guidelines to guide you in order to be a better and proper human being. Some things feels like it's bad or it's negative, but they're simple guidelines. And it is for you to understand it as an individual human being. That's simply what it is. So building a proper foundation is building a healthier you, and building a healthier you eventually helps you to build healthier relationship, healthier friendships. And so what it will allow you to do is to be able to have clear, concise, and proper communication. And one of the things that you have to understand is communication is paramount, first and foremost, within every relationships. Not just externally with other people or the world itself, but it's with yourself. Start with yourself. So communication is paramount first and foremost. Things that will help you throughout your day to day is being practical about the way you go about it, the things that you're doing and why you're doing it. Practical things, day to day practices, which mean you're doing things in increments. Start small, create a consistent flow until it becomes or it evolves, so it really takes on a life of itself. So you don't really have to manually operate these things. Create a routine for yourself. And what a lot of this will take is practice. You know, like when you're studying in school or you're studying for anything, how you become better? It takes practice. Even for just being who you are as an individual, you know what it takes? It takes practice. That's all. It takes practice. Simple things that you can practice is holding yourself accountable, being responsible, having common decency, and there's a list of things that you can go through and pick out the things or where you want to start from. Make a list, create a goal, make a task schedule, so you can properly follow up and guide, give yourself feedback in small increments. Eventually, as you do it consistently and you practice, it evolves. So for a lot of people, you can, if you don't know how to start or where to start, and you have proper people or individuals that you can confide in, you can do that. But for a lot of people on whole, not everyone has the luxury. It's like I always say whenever it comes to the financial or the wealth stability that some people may have. Not everyone is given an inheritance or wealth, or not everyone is given a helping hand. So what you have to do, you really have to teach yourself. If no one has given to you what you need to have, you really have to teach yourself. Because you have to start from somewhere, especially when it comes to being financially literate. If you understand that if you acknowledge that you don't really know how to properly handle money or any, not just money, but any kind of financial means, if you acknowledge that you don't really know much about it, then the simplest thing you can do is to go research, learn, practice, and teach yourself. Makes no sense that you're gonna point the finger elsewhere. It won't help. You're still gonna have to coming back learning somehow. which is going to benefit you in the long run. So you might as well just go take the time and practice and learn it. And so one of the things that a lot of people don't realize, as a matter of fact, a lot of people realize it, that whenever it comes to being a proper individual, or whenever it comes to having good friendships and relationships, it's not a product. It's a practice. It's something that you have to practice, especially when it comes to being responsible and holding yourself accountable. It takes practice, especially if it's something that you're not used to. You are now trying to, it's like when you're trying to learn something different. What it takes practice. So your relationships or your friendships, beyond all the superficiality, it's not a product, and it's not some entitlement. It's something that you have to work to make it something good or something great. It's something that takes practice. So being a proper individual, it takes practice, it takes work. When it comes to friendship, relationships, and everything, it takes work and practice, especially if it's something that you weren't taught or something that you're not used to. If it's not something that is the norm among or within your everyday daily life or routine, then you have to practice it. It's like learning a new language. You really have to practice. And you practice in increment, even if it's in small increments. If you practice it and do it consistently, eventually you will get better at it. So it takes practice. You can make like a schedule plan, a schedule task. Make a list. Anything that works, as long as it helps. See, as you can see on my wall back there, I have a board that I write things on. So it's not simply things to remind me, but if it's something that you're working towards, then and you're not gonna always remember it, then you need to write it down. So you have to write it down so you can practice it, or just to simply remind yourself. And mainly because you still have to be practical about things. You have your everyday life, just like everyone else. You're either distracted doing something else, or you having to work or go to school or something else. So what you have to do is you have to write it down. Or with the technology now, you can create a voice message to remind yourself. So those are some. Obviously, there's a lot more that I can go into, but those are really some basic things that you have to start with, or that you have to do whenever it comes to relationship, or simply being a better person. You first have to start with yourself. You really have to start with yourself. That alone will fix a lot of issues for majority of people. Start with yourself, and really being honest about it, holding yourself accountable, being responsible and truthful about it. That fixes so many issues and confusion. Put yourself on a better path. I think one of the other things that you can do is you can also create like a checklist. For most people, or for a lot of people, you still like to write. You want to have like a little small pamphlet or a handbook. You could just jot down notes. You could write down notes of daily accomplishments or things that you would like to work towards. And this is the way that you work towards it, by doing it in small increments, just to give yourself some kind of a feedback, or to remind yourself that this is what you're doing and why you're doing it and the reason for it. So you can put why it will benefit you or why it won't benefit you. A simple handbook, or you can even write things down in your phone that you have, probably in your notepad or something to remind you. So one of the things that I must touch on is that when it comes to self-evaluation, there has to be a balance. So you have to know how to not be overly harsh or hard beyond where it's going to benefit you, because things that have been ingrained in you are things that you've only known. You have to create a balance so you can do it in small increments. So because nothing is going to happen in just one go. So I have to make reference to that. That is that is absolutely important. So much appreciation for those who have joined me. One thing you can do is to like the video if these are the kind of contents that you like to see or you want to see more of. If it's something that you want to be notified by, or for the algorithm or YouTube to present this kind of stuff to you, you have to like the content. It's the platform that most of the time, it's if you don't, it's just gonna give it to other people that these are the things that they're into. So gratitude for those that have really stopped by, and you're into this sort of self help. I'll go through just a few more just a few more thoughts. But apart from that, you leave your comments if you have a comment or something based on the title or based on the thumbnail. Leave your comment, and if you want to have some kind of interaction about that in particular. For the most part, I like to take breaks in between, so I don't consistently talk. When I talk about these things, as simplistic as they are fundamental and they are important. So, if you're watching this on live or if you're watching this on repeat, then it's always good to go back to or listen to the things that really resonate with you, so you could better make sense of it. So taking in too much all at once can be overwhelming for a lot of people. I'll go over my instrument just about another once or twice, and then I'll close out from there. So if you guys have missed the interaction, you can replay or go back. I'll go through just a few more playbacks of my instrumental and close out from there. If you guys miss anything, simply just go back and repeat just to hear anything that you've missed, or you simply just want to get a better understanding of. Apart from that, you guys can always leave your comments and let me know what you guys think. Much gratitude and appreciation for all the people that have taken the time out to really start the self journey or the journey into self. So those are things that I don't like to focus on. That's something that anyone can research on the internet. I like to focus on the more basic things. That is that creates too much confusion. I like to start from the basic things. When you start and point any kind of question you have, you need. I always point that to myself, so I don't really get confused within all the superficiality of things like these that cause confusion. So these are simple things that anyone can research on the internet. So even if I have the answer or I don't have the answer, it's not something that I like to focus on. I I don't really focus on those things. I focus on the now. So history is important, but when it comes to learning so much history, but at the same time, as an individual, there is a lot you don't know about yourself. It's too much confusion. I appreciate your question, but I really like to focus on self-help and self-care. That's really where I like to start from. And as an individual, for everything that have been taught throughout my entire life, whether it's through school or through my job or families or friends, it's not something that I would identify it, or it's not really authentically who I am as a person. So I always start from from self to stripping away all the superficiality. So all of the confusion or that has been pushed onto me or ingrained in me, I start from self. So it's a journey to self. So I start self-help, self-clear, and then I move outwards. So if I can really get back to that organic, authentic self, then I can move outward by being a proper human being first and foremost. Looking outward on all the different things creates too much confusion, and that's something that I'm not really into. So I always start with self, and that is a really important one. I know the norm is based on labels and classification. There's one thing that I always say: stereotypical idealism is mainly for fairy tales, because not everything that is based on ideal or the norm isn't always right. So whenever it comes to label, as prominent as it may be, that something is a part of a construct that still creates confusion. So I, I really don't even focus on that. Self, I know it doesn't sound like much, but it's the basic foundation that as a human being, if you can start from looking at yourself and taking accountability, and I mean really understanding that the music that you listen to, what you watch, the conversation that you have with people, it's is this really you? Are these the things that you really want to think about? That's what I think about when it comes to self. When it comes to label, classification, and all these things, it's too much confusion, and I really don't focus on that too much. Conversation into that, all that information is on the internet, so that's easy to research. It's all that information is really at everyone's exposure, so you can easily research it. So I don't really focus on that. Some of the main and basic things is learning how to be a proper human being. All the labels and the classification is just gonna steer you away. it's 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 gonna create too much confusion. Starting to identifying or the separating from this or that. No, I don't really focus on any of that. Being a proper human being is really focusing on being a proper human being. I think if every individual can do that, then all the confusion and all the things that creates the issues and the separation will eventually just evaporate. Most things when it comes to labels or classifications, I really let people just go research that, because I think if you are really seeking and willing enough, if you are really searching for answers, these are things that you will find. And there's one thing that that's always been said, is that if you're really seeking for answers, these are things that you're really gonna search for, and most people really don't go search. They don't really go read book, or they don't really go try to find the answers that they want. So whenever it comes to all the classifications and labels, I leave that up to each individual human being, because all all that achievement is gonna based on what you put in, the reward. What I do is it's just basic human everyday job, or just the work. It's I know you're asking that question, but it's nothing that's pertaining to what I'm speaking about, but it's just normal everyday human job. I've worked management, supervisor jobs, and stuff like that before, and currently learning information technology. Basically going through classes in school, getting certification into a different career field. So what one thing I always say, even though these things are things that you have to do on a daily basis, I still don't really identify with these things because these aren't who I am as a person. Like a job is a job, or a career is a career, or the school is a school, but it's not really me. These are ultimately the things that really make you happy as an individual. So I tend not to confuse all these things. So it's like I can even give an example when it comes to like being financially literate. Most of us aren't taught how to be how to know or what to do when it comes to financial literacy. And so what I have to do, I have to take it upon myself to hold myself accountable and to be responsible enough to go research and try to learn what it is and how it is that to learn and go about it. And so in the same way, whenever it comes to knowing something or wanting to know something, it's going to always come down to the individual. The reward of understanding that you're gonna is gonna that you're gonna get is gonna based on the amount of effort that you're putting into it. So some of the simplest thing a lot of people tend to overlook, and eventually it always comes back around to as an individual, you not having a proper foundation because you tend to as you as you achieve a lot of things in life, like most people, they'll achieve a lot, but eventually you come to realize that a lot of these things don't really resonate with who you are as an individual. So a lot of people will then start to get into the self work, or they start to do simpler things. So while the self care is really simple, it's very foundational, and that is what I like to focus on. No labels, no titles, no classification. It's simply self-help and self-care. And I think it's basic, but it's a good thing. But I appreciate you guys for checking the video out. If you like this kind of a content, or you like the way in which this channel is going, like the videos or things like that for you to see more of it. I'm gonna go just a few more minutes pretty much before I close the video out. You can always leave your comments just the same. That's fine. But majority of what you'll find throughout the world is that everybody or everyone is always trying to take on some kind of a title or classification. Or if you don't do that, then the world or someone else is always trying to give you some kind of a classification or some kind of a title, even though that may not be what you want, or that may not be who you are. So you really have to self-evaluate to see if if that's what your the direction of where you want your life to go. I will do another iteration of my instrumental, and then I will close out from there. If you didn't get to watch the live video, if and if you're watching this on replay, leave your comments. Let me know what you think of the video. Some of the things that you would like that you have questions about, some of the things that you would like to talk about or like to see. Leave it in the video. Also like the video as well to show me that that you like the video, where the channel is going, and the kind of content. If it's if it gives you some kind of if you resonate with the video, simply like the video. So if you happen to watch this video live or you're watching it on replay, and I'm saying this because I'm closing out the video soon, leave your comments. Let me know what you think of the video or some of the things that that you have in mind. Probably your experience as well. Because I think every individual human being, you have an experience. You've been groomed, you've been programmed, you've been brainwashed, however you want to label or title it. Everyone has an experience. Leave that. Tell me about your experience. Tell me about how it is for you and how it has been. What are some of the steps that you have taken, you had to take? What kind of incremental steps are you taking? Leave it in the comments and let me know. It's an individual journey, but it's also a collective journey, and it's the journey to self. It's the journey to understand oneself. It's self-help and self-care. If you can understand yourself and know how to be a better human being, and each human being can learn how to do that, then ultimately it becomes a collective. All right, I'll be closing out in roughly around a few five. After this instrumental is finished, so I'm gonna do another iteration of this, and then I'll close out after that. I appreciate everyone stopping by. Leave your comments and let me know what you think. Let me know what you think of my instrumental music. It's pretty cool. It's pretty soothing. Much appreciation for everyone that has the courage to really take that self journey. It's not an easy one, but it's very rewarding. All right, that's it for tonight's video. Thanks for everyone that, for joining me. Leave your comments if you have any thoughts, or if you resonate with anything that has been in the entire video. Thank you for joining me once again. Much gratitude. And one thing that I always say, the self journey is not an easy one, but it's a rewarding one. Appreciate you guys for joining me. I'll see you guys in the next video. Remember to leave your comments and like the video.